Last time on the devlog, I finally implemented bullet time or time warp for Time Barbarian. In that previous video, I talked about how lucky it was that I only have two speeds. I have enemies and enemy bullets and background objects that all move according to bullet time, and I can use time.timescale for that. The other speed, though, is for the player missiles, player bullets, anything attached to the player, which does not slow down in time freeze. And because it doesn't slow down, I thought I could just get away with using unscaled delta time. However, I have realized that I was using the time scale set to 0 to pause the game, and now that the player and the player's animations are no longer attached to scaled time, the player does not pause. And so you can run around and do all your stuff while the game is paused, and obviously we don't want that. So to fix that, to return the original behavior back, I have created a getDeltaTime function, and that function has two modes for whether you are a player or not a player. And if you are a player, it returns the unscaled time, and if you're not a player, it returns the delta time. And just to that, I have added a little pause check. So if the game is paused, it's going to return 0. And by sprinkling that around to all the various elements that are updating in the game, I am able to get it back to the behavior that it was during the previous pause menu mode. And so now when the game is paused, the player is frozen. I cannot steer the player around, and the player's bullets are frozen in place. But I think you might notice that the animations are still not frozen, as what I had done was go around and set all those animations to use unscaled time, and so they don't stop when I pause the game. And what I have come up with is just a new behavior called player anim. And what player anim does is it just monitors for whether the game is paused. And if the game is paused, it sets the animation speed to 0. And when the game is unpaused, it restores the animation speed to what it was. And then I have to go around and add one of these player anim mono behaviors to the player's bullets, the player's missiles, the egg shield, anything that is going to animate that is owned by the player needs one of these so that it'll pause when the game pauses. For example, here's our laser bullet, and I have added the player anim script to that. And so now when we pause the game, the animation on that element stops. So turns out unscaled time is really not going to be the easy fix that I imagined, because we do need a way to pause the game, including pausing all of the animations. So in the end, I have created my own delta time function after all, which would mean that if I want some time other than unscaled delta time for the player, that is the hook where we could put that. We also have the custom player anim script that could control the animation speed for anything independently now. And so I guess the moral of the story here is that if you have a bullet time feature in Unity and your player moves at any speed other than the same speed as everything else, the unscaled time isn't going to be the quick fix. You're going to need some kind of script that can control your own custom delta time, whether you're calling unscaled delta time or some other ratio of the regular delta time. And while I've got you here, I've also implemented shaders for the time freeze mechanic, and you can look forward to those in the next upload.